It's not really. No. I mean, people always, the thing is, you're just on the phone, aren't you? I mean, the fact that I've got headphones on makes me look like a bit of a biff, like, but it's got nothing to do with anything. And like, I look like I'm sat in that broom cupboard, like.
No, Philip Schofield. Andy
Philip,
Craig.
I don't want to be tarred with that brush though. So I gotta make sure. But I've just been, I don't know, I just added stuff to the wall, and it's just got more and more over the time I've been doing it.
Okay, mate, it's you've done a proper job of it. It's good, really good. I made some notes on my phone. Let me go and get me. In fact, I can get it.
I don't want to keep you for ages, mate. I just want to get as many questions out as you can.
Welcome to the Crossing the Pond podcast, hosted by me, Gary Adair, where each week our guests will recount their own experiences of resilience and transformation, whether it's moving to a new country, tackling health challenges, changing careers, or breaking through personal barriers.
This week I'm joined by Paul Cliff, who I first met in the US in 2003, but ironically, we grew up less than 5 miles away from each other back home in England. Paul describes his early years in the US and the direction that it's taken since his return home. We talk about his faith and how it leads him in his day-to-day life, his decision to make a career pivot at the age of 40, and the work he does now to lead young people in education and football in his role as a tutor at the Fowler Academy in Liverpool. What first brought you?
So I remember did we come out in 2002?
I was 2003.
Yeah, so I think I came out in 2002, but in 2001 we originally applied. I didn't have any coaching qualifications. I remember going to a Challenger Sports, not a trial thing, but where I had to showcase a bit of your coaching. Basically, me and the lads from university, we just got a coaching plan off one of our mates who was a proper coach. He said, yeah, I'll go and do that. So we were all throwing the cones down and all that. Anyway, that didn't go anywhere, but I applied for the UK Elite one as well. And it was the same thing, same year, dead late. So it was like, right, let's just try because we want to do something in the summer. Anyway, none of the others got anything, but I got a letter back from UK Elite saying you've been put on the reserve list. And I thought, all right, okay. So when the feedback was, you've got no coaching badge. So I was like, right, sound. So I spoke to my mate at university. He was working for Derby in the community, Derby County in the community at the time. I went to the University of Derby. And I just said, right, get me in there, show me the way. Because he was doing really well. He was only about 21 himself. He was going through his badges and he's absolutely flying at a Premier League club. So he got me on the pathway then. And then the following year I don't think we had a level 1 then, did we? Don't think... Or the level 1.
There was a prelim. It was like a prelim or something.
Yeah, that was it. Prelim. And
I think it was your level 2.
Yeah, and then got me at level 2 and did the interview again and got on it. So that was 2002 was the first year I came out, and then 2003 the second year.
Do you reckon you'd have jibbed it if you hadn't have got that letter the first time round? Just to say, we saw something.
I don't think so. I think what happened was, so my uncle played out in America in the original NASL league and played against Pele. So he was playing Chicago Sting and he was New York Cosmos, and he had this program and it's him jumping for a header with Pele, and Pele's like up here and he's down here, but he always says, but I won the header. That was when I was on the way down. So I was like, all right, okay. And I think that was it. I think I was playing like just a bit of semi-pro at the time up in Derby, and I was thinking I wouldn't mind. It was just when we were getting a sniff of scholarships, going to uni, getting a degree, playing footy. So I remember typing away emails to all these different universities, thinking, how do I get out there? I just want to see what it's like. And then the coaching was the next best route. So I think I would have continued to push. It was just good that the feedback was, listen, you need your badges, because you think you're from England, I know loads about footy, but when you come to coach, it's different. You know what I mean? So I remember some of the lads went to coach and they just froze because the session was going on in front of them and they couldn't cope. So yeah, I think that just that bit of feedback just to give me that extra little push to say, this is what you need. So, but I would have kept on pushing it because I was coming to the end of my time at university and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just didn't know. So
that's like a lot of us, isn't it? I think if you ask the same question, I mean, you asked me the same question, it's exactly the same answer. Yeah. Didn't know what I wanted to do. So you come over 2002. What were your expectations like versus the reality when you first get here?
I remember being blown away by that. Like it was a college, like university campus place, was it in Morristown that we stayed in for the week?
Yeah, I think it was like a boarding school kind of thing.
Yeah, boarding school thing. But I remember being blown away by the food. Like, because when you first get, you think, wow, is this going to be what it's going to be like all week? And it was for that week, wasn't it? And then it's like, right, we spoil it, get out. I remember coming over just thinking, being around loads of like-minded lads who loved footy, could get on with kids dead easy. And I just remember it exceeded my expectations, really. The coaching was mad, wasn't it? You get like the petite group, let's say. You'd have a 5-year-old and an 11-year-old. One of the 11-year-olds wearing like jean Bermuda shorts with shinnies and boots, and then you got this 5-year-old, and you're like, "What's going on here?" And there's only about 10 of them, and you're trying to do. Remember when you had to do the skills, and it was 1, 2,
Yeah, elite
do you remember?
feet.
So, but the best thing about it was you were doing that 9 till 12:30, and then by 1 o'clock, 1:30, we were in New York. And it was just like, this is a different world. Always, weather was always good. So it probably exceeded my expectations, to be honest. I think I went out there thinking I'd play a lot more football than I did. But when I got out there, I wasn't really bothered. Once I'd done the coaching, I was like, right, let's go and see what it's got to offer, really.
Obviously, you've got your uncle telling you that he's winning headers against Pelé, left, right, and centre, and all that. But what stood out to you about the culture, about the game? I mean, you're right about the jeans and the shinnies, and because that's something that everyone would say. But just compared to back home and in the Northwest, or even when you were at uni as well.
Yeah, I mean, where we're from. So I went to school in Ashton and Makefield. A lot of my mates, their mums and dads were from Huyton, from the Dingle, from North Liverpool, same as you. And it just seemed like at the time, every one of my mates, probably similar to yours, was Everton or Liverpool fans. They weren't United fans or Wigan fans. Wigan, you didn't even know. It was Everton or Liverpool. So it was quite a hotbed for football and a good standard as well. All the leagues were a good standard. And I should imagine in Liverpool, obviously, it was even more so. At the time I got out there, you think you know everything, don't you, about the game, and you've been around it from, I was playing organised footy from about, it must have been 6 years old. So, playing under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, under 10s, all the way through, didn't you? Because that's what you did. Most played Saturday, Sunday. I played Saturday. And then, just getting over there, it was like, oh, this is different. It wasn't the same level. They were good athletes, but they just wasn't the same. You'd be trying to connect with the kids, wouldn't you? Naming players, and they just look at you like, ew. And you'd be talking like about Beckham or Scholes or, John Barnes or Lineker, and you'd just be like, and Michael Owen at the time, obviously, and you're just looking at you like, no idea what you're on about. So it was just a strange mix. But they were up for anything, weren't they? The kids were always like dead keen, just really enthusiastic. It was different.
What about away from footy then? Like, just you talk about wasn't it? The summer camp stuff. You'd be done by 12:30, 1 o'clock, especially at the beginning of the summer before the team stuff started. What cultural stuff that stood out to you just about being different in America? Because again, it's like one thing, the free food and the canteen when you first get there is ace, isn't it? I couldn't get over the pink lemonade. I'd never seen pink lemonade before until I came here.
Yeah. I remember just everything, wasn't it? We didn't have Wendy's at home, so at Wendy's they had a $1 menu, so you'd be getting, and then the Dunkin' Donuts breakfast. I used to absolutely love the cheese and bacon bagel or cheese and ham bagel with a coffee. It was just like, this is unbelievable, because at the time we couldn't get that at home. Mackey's were probably doing breakfast, can't remember, but Burger King certainly weren't, and we didn't have a Dunkin' Donuts, and we certainly didn't have a Wendy's. So it was just all these, all those little things. And then the malls. I mean, aren't the nearest thing to the mall was the Trafford Centre. Then you go to the mall, it's like, what is this place? And at the time, obviously, it was probably, you were getting 2 for 1, weren't you? I think for, $2 for every dollar. So it was like, this is unbelievable. Yeah, so just from a culture point of view, you just get bought into it, aren't you, straight away? Sun's on your back, and then all these things that you've never seen before. It's just like the ice cream places where you have ice cream drive-throughs, it's not unthought. I remember coming home.
Drive-through cash machines was the one for me.
Yeah, the Chase, bonkers.
Yeah.
I remember coming home. That year. This is what made me want to come back the following year. I remember coming home in 2002 I was driving through Ashton to my mates, and just looking around thinking, where's all the buildings gone? Because obviously, probably the day before, I was in New York, just walking around. You remember we used to walk for hours, didn't even go in the shop, just used to walk with our heads up, looking around thinking, what's going on? Were you ever there with us when we were in Times Square and the fella was racing himself against the NASDAQ clock? No, not remember.
Running round the.
He was sprinting and we were going, what's he doing? And then he'd look at the clock and he'd wait to get to time and then he'd sprint again. And this is in the middle of Times Square. And then when you're walking along and the fellas with the beatboxers, just drop the beatbox down and start doing chin-ups on the lamppost. It was just like, this place is brilliant, but absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, good, wasn't it? Can you remember any stories from the coaching? Like the one that sticks out to me is the when we ended up going to Kentucky that one year, and you get on you're on the rifles with Ralphie.
Oh, I'll come back to that. Do you ever? So remember the journey, and I think so. The first place was Knoxville, wasn't it, in Tennessee?
Yeah.
Did you go there? No, I think it was me, Sonny, Rob, and it might have been Ralphie. I can't remember properly. Anyway, I was on my own in a homestay on my own in Tennessee. Tracy, the woman's name was. And you look back and I know, they used to get free places, didn't they, for the kids? But obviously that was different. That was like, oh, where am I here? And I couldn't wait to leave that homestay. Not because they weren't lovely and everything, but I just didn't feel safe in that place at all. I remember that after driving like 15 hours, I remember we got lost. I remember pulling up like in the middle of nowhere. It was like a forest basically. And the fella coming to the door with just a gun in his pocket and just put his hand on the gun. And we got out the car. And luckily for us, we were English. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't have a clue what we were saying. And we were asking for directions. But he was ready to just be like, if you come any closer, I'm just going to shoot you. I'm just thinking, wow. And then after that, I was never so pleased to leave that place. The kids there actually at Tennessee were great. It was a high school, that one. And this when it started. In fact, I'm skipping a year. It's probably 2003 this now. That was like proper coaching to me then when you were with the teams. And did you do Madison? You did Madisonville with you?
I think I went the week before because I did the girls' camp and then you did the boys' camp.
Yeah. And I remember getting there and the fella and the lady, it was Steve and Star Durham. Can't remember the kids' names, but they were Mackenzie and something else. They were lovely. And it was like night and day from Tennessee. They had 64 acres of land. It was just this like amazing house. We had our own quarters and we're getting up for breakfast that day and there was all like strawberries laid on, just like a proper feast. And the coaching that week was brilliant. I remember the fella, the teacher coach, it was raining the first day. And we put a video on, I think, we were like, what we're going to do. And I seen this video play and I went, just get a video of any footy we've got on. And I think it was Shearer's goals or something like that. So we just started talking about Shearer and, how good he was and this, that and the other. And anyway, it stops raining. So we go outside and we put on a decent session, all of us, because we were working with teams. So you could do your formations and you set, and your principles of play and all the rest of it. I remember the fella coming up to at the end of the week saying, I was really skeptical of you at the beginning of the week being so young. How are you going to manage these kids and teaching them? And he was made up with us. I remember the best thing about that was we were on the top fields. And do you remember the bottom fields, like their mini stadium, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And thinking, this is unbelievable. This is a high school. This is like, it was just like, wow. And they were lovely. But the story there goes, we were messing about in the pool and it was the day we got our degree results. So 2002, I think what that did do for me was made me think, I need to get myself in gear here. So my last year at uni, I remember moving out there was about 6 of us in one house. I remember moving out, just me and my mate, into a house with just the 2 of us. And it was like, right, we've got to get this done. He'd already been there 4 years on a 3-year course. And I was in my 4th year of a 3-year course. And I was thinking, I'm not staying again. And I just need to get back out, and see where the coaching takes me. And so it was our degree. The day we got our degree, I ended up with a 2-2 and I was just so relieved, guy. I was so relieved because I'd failed loads of modules previous, just
Same.
mature enough to get to grips with it, and straight through, by the skin of my teeth. So we went outside, we were shooting these rifles, and bear in mind, these were proper rifles. Proper. Have you ever seen the film? Is it Shooter with Mark Wahlberg?
I knew you were going to say that then, I love that film.
Right? It's unbelievable, isn't it? Shot the best in it. There's another one, actually. I'll text you later on. I watched it the other day, a war film that he's in. Brilliant. But anyway, so it had one of those sights on it. So he lined up all the cans, however the distance was away. And I had to go, and I was nowhere near. And he said, no, you got to get it closer to you. And he meant the shoulder, the gun in your shoulder. I thought he meant the sight. So I put the sight right on my eye and just went bang, and it just went boom. It must have knocked me for 6. They were laughing their heads off, so I must have shot back. I was sure Robsy was there, and my face just pouring with blood. And I'll never forget it because it was the day I passed my GCSE got my degree. So yeah, I've still got the scar for that actually up here somewhere.
I just remember, I wasn't there, was I? But I just remember the, you'll never guess what Cliffy's done.
So I had to coach then, and I had all butterfly stitches all around my head here because they had nothing else. I'll never forget it, yeah. Wow.
Do you think, it's funny, isn't it? Like, do you think all of this stuff, like you getting your head, like being mature enough to realise that, you had to get through uni no matter how. Like I came to a bit of a realisation because I failed my second year, like gloriously. So I had to go back. But there was a moment where I realized, like, I've got to get hold of myself here. And that the way you said that then about being too immature to sort of understand what you were doing and getting your head around everything and putting the effort in and putting the work in. Like, do you think the travel and the exposure to different things and a different way of life outside of your bubble, call it, in, Ashton or back in Ayton and wherever it was, like, do you think that's really started to shape, the sense of direction, not just the coaching, but just in general as yourself?
Without a doubt. I mean, you pick up loads of, I lived away at university, picked up loads of, I suppose, life skills, if you want to call them there. Just seeing the opportunity in 2002 then just made me think, right, okay, there's more, there's a bigger world, there's more to do. I suppose as well, when you look back, Brendan, Mick, Rodgers, they weren't that old, Do you understand what I mean? You look at it now, they're probably not much older than us, they're not the same age. So you look at them and then, Brendan was from Rainhill, wasn't he? And you just look and you think, this is something I could do. This is something I could be interested in. They were just, you looked at it and you look and think, there's 4 lads there who've just gone out and created this, and they're not much different to us in a way. I think so. Looking at them and thinking, okay, there's something more we can have a look at here. Not for everyone. Don't get me wrong. There's people who were like, I'm not sure about this, or didn't enjoy it when they came out. I suppose it then just redirects you because you think, I'll get my coaching badges. I'll coach in a club in England. But then you go out and you think, okay, there's more opportunities. And football was just a vehicle to give you these views and more opportunities. I used to love the flights. Just having that time on your own, just to be like, right, bit of thinking time, I mean, even the flights were mad then, weren't they?
Yeah.
Flew us with Virgin, you're like, what is this? This is like unbelievable. It just opened my eyes really to what was needed to get through. And I think you just have a shift, don't you? You get to, that's what I must have been, sort of 20, 21 when I went out. It's just different, isn't it? You think, right, hang on a minute, I'm in my 20s now, I need to do something. So yeah, that's what made me me shift really, I think.
Like, you're someone who's very open about your faith as well, right? If you don't mind me going into this a little bit. How does that guide you when you're living and working abroad in different situations? And again, at the beginning, with different groups of lads. Like, and it's funny because Ralphie brought this up to me the other week. He goes, you know what Ralphie's like, and instead he goes, ask him, right? He's just said, ask him, how does he manage himself when he's abroad and in different situations with different lads, living in these areas, rocking up in tough situations. Like, how did that guide you living and working away? Or how has it guided you as you go?
knowing Jesus as my Lord and Savior means I have forgiveness for my past, peace in my present, and hope for the future. And I don't. It's hard for you to understand, really, in some cases, because you've got to investigate it and look at it for yourselves. You've got to discover faith for yourselves. It's not. I can only tell you about me. I can only tell you my story and where my faith has come in to my life. Now, when I was 7 years old, my mum died of cancer. She was 32, 4 kids. So my sister was 9, I was 7. My brother was 2, and my youngest brother was 3 months old, 4 months old, maybe. I look back at that moment as quite a pivotal moment, because from there, my uncle, who played out in America, was a pastor. He became a pastor. And we used to travel from our home in Haydock to Burnley every Sunday to go to my uncle's church just after my mum passed, because my nan, my granddad, my auntie, they all came to live with us. And we used to travel up every weekend until we found a local church in Haydock, of which eventually my dad became the minister. So ultimately, I was brought up in a church environment. It wasn't actually until I got, not my first year I came out to America, but the second year, I remember walking over, we were in Morristown again, in the like boarding school, because Bren used to live in that house, didn't he? On site.
Yeah.
Remember? But there was a gym, wasn't there? So there was a gym across the way, and I'll never forget walking over to the gym, walking out the gym, and deciding there and then, I talked about my faith. I tried to live my faith, but actually saying, right, if I'm going to live my faith, God, I'm going to live it for you from today. And I vividly remember where I was, like I just told you, when I made that decision. And, through reading my Bible, praying, through having Christian friends, through having Christian family, it is me. So it's not something that I can sort of explain. It's just how I live. These past few years, guys, we've walked through some difficult times with people. A friend of mine lost his wife. She was 32. She ended up with cancer, 3 kids. Another friend of mine, close friend, he died of lung cancer. They found out, I'll never forget, on New Year's Eve. I think it was 2022. By the October, he died. We've walked through these situations with people, and the blessing is that I can only say that's because cancer seems to have followed me around since I've known about mum, and then and then I know it's prevalent in a lot of people's lives, but I just think, and this is that I've been able to be used in those situations to, I don't know, to share those situations with people, really, and support them in those situations. And I can only look to my dad, who's gone through this whole situation, losing my mum. So my faith has been, it is me. I can't explain it any other way. It's not something I put in one box and then I'll open it when it's needed. It's my life. So I struggle to explain it any other way, really. I've been blessed there.
It's not like going on a diet for 6 months.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not like,
nip into the gym when you're feeling unfit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I need to get good again now. It's just, it is my life. And I was blessed enough when I came back, 2005, I met my now wife. My wife's a believer as well. So I believe that is, God's hand on my life, that I've met a wife who's a believer as well. And God willing, my kids will grow up to be believers. I remember coming out actually in 2002, and again, if Ralphie was there, he'll probably remember it. I think Tom McNeil was there actually, and having a debate with some, crackers people in New York about faith. And when I look back at it now, I just think, oh, you idiot, because it's not about proving people wrong. It's about Jesus in the Bible is about, loving the unloved, caring for the orphan and the widow. And a lot of people think it's about do-gooders. It's not. It's about needing someone to show you that you'll never be good enough, but he is. So I would just encourage those, probably yourself and those who are listening, you'd have to investigate it for yourself and work out the truth for yourself. And all I'll do is pray for you while you do it.
But that's yeah, that's kind of the right thing to do, though. Like, the fact that you've just explained it really well. Then to me, I don't follow a faith. I just try and be the nicest version of myself as I can be. But probably think sometimes that people or certain religions do push themselves on other people. It's not about that, is it? It's about how you've directed yourself based on what you believe in. And
yeah, I mean, I just encourage people to read the Bible for themselves, and you have to read it in its whole context, and then you'll find an understanding of what it is trying to tell you, and then you'll make a decision, and your decision is whether you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God or he isn't. And ultimately, that's a personal decision that people have to take.
Like, you talk about these long flights or these long drives, like going 15 hours into the Tennessee or anything like that with people. Did you ever discuss it with other people as well, just to sort of not gauge opinion, but just did it ever come up in conversation with people? Did people ask you about it? Do you find that?
Yeah, it must have done. You remember Christian Bates?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember Batesy, we had many a conversation, and I remember being in, it must have been between, I can't remember, it was on the way to Boston, or it might have even been Kentucky again. Anyway, it was basically one of the motels. I don't say much more than that. So they rented it by the hour, basically. So we're in this motel, and we're like, what's happening here? Anyway, but I was like, listen, I'm going to find a church tomorrow. You're all welcome to come. And Bates comes to me and goes, yeah, I'll come. I was like, okay, sound. He said, but I've got nothing to wear. I go, what do you mean? He said, well, I've got no shirt and tie. Neither have I. I'm going in what I'm going in. It was flip-flops, shorts, t-shirt, done. And he was like, really? It's like, yeah. So, okay, well, let's go. And so, yeah, he came with me. I remember a lad called Joe being out there. Joe went to Birmingham Newman University. And the funny thing was, we played them. We needed to beat them to win the league. And we beat them 1-0, I think, at their place. He was a good player, Joe, centre mid, big fella. And I remember recognising him, and he recognised me, and we ended up staying in a house stay together, actually. It was really good. And he was Assemblies of God. And so we had some good conversations and ended up going, I think, to a church together. I remember going to a church meeting in Philadelphia on my own, and I was the only white person in there. And that was like, I remember they got me up at the front to say something. I can't remember, like, what are you doing here, basically. But they were lovely. That was on, what was the high street called in Philly?
There's Broad Street in Philly, Market Street.
By where we lived, by where the house was.
In a Manayunk.
Yeah, in Manayunk it was. It was just the high street in Manayunk, yeah. I was the only white lad in there, and obviously, from England as well. And he was just like, can you come up and tell us what's happening? They were lovely, though, yeah.
It's a lot better than getting welcomed with someone's patting a gun on the hip when you get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So all right. So we'll jump back a little bit, or jump forward a little bit. You just mentioned then about coming back, and it was probably 2005 when you met your now wife. What did you come back to? Did you talk about a thing about going away, I'll come back and get a job in footy. Like, what did it look like when you got back?
I remember vividly remembering, we had a garage, like an MOT centre in Widnes at the time. And I was upstairs in the office with my dad, and he turned around and said, look, we need you in the business. We need you to help out in this and that and the other. And it was guaranteed income. So it was there and then. Didn't have a job interview. It was like, there's the money. I was like, okay, I don't know whether I want to go back, because I remember you were going to do the September till whatever the next contract was, the 9-month contract. Thinking, I think I'd like to do that. Anyway, I wasn't convinced. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't convinced that was what I wanted to do. I was just thinking, if I don't know if anything else doesn't come up, I'm gone for the 9 months. Because I remember in 2003 I did 8 weeks, not 6. I think, or was it 4? I think you could do a 4 weeks, then an 8 weeks, I think, at the time. Anyway, so I ended up doing 8, and so I came on. I was just like, okay, so I'll stay. One thing led to another. Then I didn't really do probably any coaching for about 4 years. I remember 2007, I just thought, I want to do my B license. And signed up for the B. It was expensive, about 1,500 quid, which at the time was a lot of money. Anyway, so I did my B license, and I got it. And I couldn't believe that I got it. And I remember the guy who was doing the course was a guy called Phil Hackney. And he just said on the course, said, listen, I'm setting up Accrington Stanley Centre of Excellence. Does anyone want to have a go at helping me out? And I was like, yeah, go on, I'll have a go. So I ended up then, whilst I was still working, doing the garage stuff, doing Tuesday, Thursday, and then every other Sunday up at Accrington. And so I kept my hand in there. And then I met, I did that for a couple of years, I think. And then I met a guy called Barry Lewitis. I know Barry. He was the under-21 manager at Liverpool for a bit. Just moved on now. He's a great lad, Barry. I've got to know him even better, really, because his son, my youngest son, and his son are good mates. Anyway, we just went out for a meal, just through mutual friends. And Barry said, listen, I'm leaving Wigan under 14s to go to Bolton under 14s. Do you want the job? I was like, yeah, so sick of travelling up to Accrington. Thought Wigan's a little bit close. I was in Liverpool at the time. I'd moved then to Liverpool by now because I was married. And I was like, yeah, go on, I'll do it. And he said, okay, I'll ring the fella. And the fella rang me straight away and just went, yeah, you can have the job. Just like that. Didn't even have a job interview. Next minute, I was coaching Wigan under 14s. And actually, I had a better under 14 squad at Accrington because I picked them myself than they were at Wigan at the time. Anyway, I only ended up doing that for 12 months because my now eldest son was born. My wife was pregnant, and I was starting to be more hands-on, I suppose, in the business, and I couldn't run my own business and do the coaching at the same time. Just wasn't working. I was either going to go all in again in the coaching, or I needed to pick what was probably right for us. And I felt, Sundays is my day where I go to church and we do our we mainly see people from church. So I couldn't commit to doing a Sunday. So the football in that sense didn't fit for me because that's what it is. You've got to be there on Sunday morning, especially for the younger kids. So yeah, so I come out of that then. That was 2010. So that was the mixed journey really. And then from 2010 till 2022, 12 years, yeah. I just stayed in the garage business and opened a couple of garages. And then as my son got older, obviously I started running his team.
I don't want to jump too far forward just yet, but what lessons do you learn about yourself on that path as you're going through? Call it that, what is it? That window between coming back from the US and then running those businesses plus the coaching as well.
Yeah, I think one of the things I did throw myself into when I got back was doing some youth work in the church. So where we were in Haydock was getting a little bit moody, shall we say, for the young kids. They were causing us quite a few problems in the church, throwing bricks at the windows and stuff like that. So I remember I gripped one of them outside the door. And I remember, because they were jumping in and out the door and I hid behind the door. So as they came in, I grabbed him and I just said, what's happening here? Like, what do you want? What do you need? And I remember them just saying, oh, there's nothing here to do and this, that, and the other. I said, okay, Sean. Said every Friday, come here. I think it was about 7 o'clock and we'll do something. And I remember sort of just being able to relate to those kids. They're probably 12 to 15 because of the skills I suppose I've picked up coaching. Just because you don't know every kid, do you? When you turn up, you're trying to see what fits for them and where their hot points are. So I did that probably for a good 7 years when I got back. That was every Friday night. I remember we used to just say to them, listen, we'd start smelling alcohol and we'd throw them out if they were drinking because there just had to be a standard of, right, okay, that's not acceptable. And I remember it came to the point then where they'd come up to the door and go, look, I'm not coming in tonight, I've had a drink. So you build that relationship. And I think the skills that you pick up in coaching relationally, you can use then. And I think
so transferable, isn't it?
Unbelievable. So I did that for quite a while. And then just needed to have that time to focus on, we had a few crucial decisions to make about the business. So I needed to focus on that. And for 5 years, I was just working, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday till 1 o'clock. And then I'd be off Sunday and then back again. At Christmas times, I'd be off, close midday, Christmas Eve, have Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then back in till New Year's Eve. So it was tough going, but I needed to do it to build it. So yeah, so that's sort of where I had to where I got to with the business until I could sort of get myself into a position where my son was about probably 7. Started a little bit later. I remember. Do you know Jack Walton? No. So Jack Walton's an FA tutor, coach, and he's a good lad. And I remember going, as I was doing my B, I went to some CPD. Jack was there, and he was doing a team called Marshalls, which is a local team here in Liverpool. And I said to Jack, listen, my son's looking for a team. He went, all right. He said, come down Saturday morning, and there's a session on. So I'll go down Saturday morning, literally at the back of where our house is now. And I was like, right, yeah, he's in and he's going with no intention of doing the team whatsoever. I was thinking, great, someone else will coach him. And Jack turns around and goes, I said, so is there room for him? He said, well, actually, we're looking for another coach to take the team because there's too many kids. So what I'm meant to say there, like, I'll take my son somewhere else. So I had him and a few other kids who were sort of late comers. And that's how that started then. I had him then for another 10 years.
You talk about that. Is that how you drew yourself back into the coaching and education side?
Yeah. So I'm not a mechanic by trade, obviously. So I can do the basics on the cars. The point was, the idea was build a business, franchise it or sell it, open another one, build it up, franchise it, sell it, and try and do a few of them. But the only way you can do that is if you have the right person to come in. And it took me 10 years to find the right person. So when I found the right person, it was like, right, okay, what would I like to do? And I knew, so what was I then? I think I was 41. I was thinking, I know I don't want to be in the garages for the rest of my life because you can easily get stuck in it because you learn the money and you be like, right, okay, this is okay. I was like, I can't, it's not going to be me in a few years. I'll just be, I'll struggle with it. So we moved my eldest son's team, to the Fowler Academy when he was under 14s. It was just starting. The education program for Fowlers had been running since 2015. So when the junior thing came up, it was, they went into Melwood and they had a coach to train them. So I was able to step back from the training. I'd still take them at the weekend, but I could step back from the training. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great for me. Now, the mistake I made there is I didn't take the parents along for the journey properly. I was just like, this is what we're doing. Now, in some ways, talking to you and other people, it'd be like, right, well, I've coached the team and managed the team for 6 years. You would think I've got some idea of what the next step would be for some of these lads. Anyway, they weren't really convinced, but I'd said, listen, if you don't want to come with me, there'll be no one else to do the team, basically. And so we went across, and that was the start of. I had the conversations then with Scott originally and Brian, who run it now. And just said, look, what do I need to get me teaching qualification? And this time, bear in mind, as I was still doing the garage, and I remember Brian saying to me, well, you need a PGCE and you need UA for B. I was like, well, I've got my UA for B. So I thought, right, okay. So I went away and I said, right, okay, I'll sign up. So I went to Wigan and Lee College twice a week. I signed up for Wigan and Lee College in 2022, did the PGCE. I was there every Thursday night for 2 years from 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock. It was horrible.
I know that. I'm doing that now.
Yeah,
every Tuesday for 18 months.
Yeah. I was just, it's hard, isn't it? Because you're doing a full-time job. You've got your wife, got your kids, you've got other things going on, but that's a priority. So it was just fitting that in. I knew it'd be a struggle for 2 years. Anyway, so I ended up doing that. And then I used to go in one day a week into the Fowler Academy just to get a feel of it. And then I went and did some work at the City of Liverpool College as well. And I remember then in the City of Liverpool College, I was doing the level 1 kids, low level. And they were off the wall. And I remember me having a meeting with the deputy head of the college, and he just said, look, Paul, he said, some of them just come here because it's safe and it's warm, and if they want food, they can get it. He said, don't worry too much about the qualification. And as soon as he said that to me, it was a shift for me. I was like, right, okay, I've got it. So I completely changed the way I taught them then, because I was trying to get them to achieve a qualification that they're never going to get. They weren't at that level. What they needed is a little bit more time. And what I did know is I didn't want to teach that type of level the next year or the next year, the next year, the next year. And with the Fowlers College, they're doing the footy and the education. And I just thought that'd be a great little mix for me for now. And yeah, so I got my PGCE and just said to Brian, look, is there an opportunity? And luckily enough, he gave me a job. Highlight of the college, though, the City Liverpool College was, one of the kids was called Kano, and a scally kid from Toxteth he was. Got on with him great. And sad when I had to go, sad for him, because I was thinking, I wonder whether he's going to stay on, because he needs one-to-one personal just to check in. And anyway, I was at the footy the other day, my kids' footy, and the lad who I used to work with came over and he went, listen, he said, Kano's flying. I went, what? He went, yeah, he's flying. He's doing a level 3. So I was like, wow. And just shows you, doesn't it? Just a little thing, just keeping on. And it just, I'd always been, even in the garage, I've always wanted to train people. I remember an apprentice coming, knocking on my door constantly, this kid, can I have an apprenticeship? Can I have an apprenticeship? Can I have an apprenticeship? And I'm turning around to him one day, I said, look, what are you doing now? Are you even working? Thinking he was going to say, I'm not doing anything. He went, yeah, I work at KFC. I was like, right, it's okay. I said, son, yeah, I'll give you an apprenticeship. Now, the reason I gave him the apprenticeship is because he was bothered to get up and go and get any job, whatever it took. He knew what he wanted, which was the apprenticeship in the cars, but he didn't care whether he was doing KFC, whatever. He just needed a job.
Just had the drive to get up off his ass. Yeah.
Yeah. So trained him up, and he's now managing one of the Halfords branches. So we always had that in us to want to train people up. But when the guy came along to take the garage, he's funny enough, he was an ex-teacher, believe it or not, ex-PE teacher, loved cars, had a lot more experience in the dealership side, so could fix them. Didn't have as much knowledge as me on the business side, but we could help him and teach him with that and form that, which we have done. And he's away and he's flying with that now. And that just enabled me to just step away and think, like, what do I really want to do for the next few years? And so that's how I've ended up from the garage, taking a leap to education. Because when I say that to people, they look at me like I've got 3 heads. Like, what? You used to run a garage and now you're doing football coaching and education in sports.
It's funny though, isn't it? Like there's a constant theme through everything, even though it's random vocations. Like, you're over here coaching a little bit, then you go back and you do the garage. You're working in the church, you're helping out in the church. Then you end up in the teaching, and now you are where you are now. It's still a constant theme of developing and helping people and giving back and just showing them that there's more to life than what you see right in front of your face at any given time. Like, I think, and that's like you talk about the lad Kano, like how good is that? How much of a carrot is that for you as someone who's in education and development to know that, the scalliest of the scallies is going to be all right if he just has a little bit of, listen, it doesn't happen to everybody because life's not Disney, is it? But you're just going to get somebody, if you can get hold of someone like that, you're like, there's good in everybody and there's drive in everybody, but it just needs to unlock it, I suppose.
People remember moments, don't they? So it's memories, moments. And one of the moments there was once the guy told me this, the deputy head of the City Liverpool College, what I could do. I remember I needed to get them out the classroom. I think we were doing something probably around self-employment or something like that we were doing. And I did 2 things with them. The first thing I did with them is I got the class and I took them to a restaurant in town on Williamson Square, and they call it the Italian Quarter. And this particular restaurant has a cafe on the bottom, pasta and pizza in the back, a brunch place in the middle. Then they make all their own ice cream on the 3rd floor, and then they make all their own pastries and cakes on the 4th floor. And I remember just Googling, thinking, where can I take them to like have a little visit, but I don't have to take them miles away. But I just thought I'd like to take them for like an ice cream, let's say. And I just typed in homemade ice cream, Liverpool. And this Italian guy's place, Donato, was a great guy, came up and I was like, look, this is what I want to do. He said, yeah, bring them down. I was like, wow, brilliant. So I remember taking them all down and we just took them on a tour through the little 4 floors of the cafe. And then downstairs, and we just had an ice cream, done. And that's what the lad Matty come to me and said, that's all because you took him for an ice cream. And I was just doing it to try and give them an experience then. But he must remember that. And I always think, wow, okay. And now we talk a lot about in the Fowler, get them out for trips, get them out to see experiences, get them to feel what they're doing on the course, not just sat in a classroom and we're throwing knowledge at them. Um, we've had, do you ever remember a guy called Peter Sturgis?
Yes.
Yeah, so Peter Sturgis came in and did a talk for us. He's been the head of England futsal. So he came in, yeah, no problem, Paul, I'll come in. I didn't know Peter. I just messaged him and said, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. And he was like, yeah, no problem. He only lives in Wigan, funnily enough. And he come all the way to Melwood and was just like, gave, an hour of his time for them. And just little things like that, guys, is just those type of moments really help. I remember we did the City of Liverpool College as well. They had to do a business presentation. The content wasn't the issue. I wasn't bothered what the content was. The point was the presentation, giving them the confidence to present in front of other people. And we're getting the head of the school and the other lads who worked in the department said, right, come on, I want to book the boardroom. And they look, and this boardroom in the City of Liverpool College, mate, is like huge with a massive table in the middle and chairs all around. And they were like, what? I said, I want to book the boardroom so these kids can do the presentation and I want you to come. And I remember them, presenting in front of them, and we weren't bothered about the content on the screen. What we were bothered about is the fact that they were willing to stand in front of the other tutors and present. And I think sometimes we don't give young people enough push. I don't think we give them enough push to, and there's ways to do it. There is ways where you can be firm, but there's also ways to just put your arm around them and encourage and all those things that you do in footy automatically. So you want your team to win. What do? You get the best player, don't you? Put your arm, right, this is what I need from you today. And then if you've got a defender who can just kick it and run, then you go and put your arm around him, don't you? Say, listen, just defend, just do, stick to your strengths. And, you're not going to ask that kid to play out from the back. One, because it's not fair on him. And two, the other kids in the team are going to get on his case. But you can still get a job out of him. And that's just the same in education now. These kids come in, they just need someone to go, come on, try it. Come on, try it until they get, and then as they're trying it, then you can chip away at, okay, what fits for this kid? And it's just the same as footy to me. I say there's lads in our place now doing a teaching qualification. I say it's just like coaching. Start with your warm up and you get to the point where you want to go. In teaching, they call it scaffolding, don't they? Where you build it up. It's the same in coaching. We've done it forever. You do a warm up, you do your technical, you do your movement pattern, you do your small sided game, and then you do a proper game at them. It's the same principles.
How do you balance that now? Because you're in the Fowler Academy now, like you said, and first of all, it's great. Second of all, it's great for me because I get to go to Melwood and see you, which was good.
Yeah.
I was made up. But
brilliant.
how do you balance that with now, especially in Liverpool as well? Robbie Fowler, legend, and it's all football, but then you've got the education component that's in there as well. Like, how do you balance that out now with the lads who are in the Fowler Academy?
They've got a real good way they set it up. So my eldest lad's there, so he'll go in the morning and do his lessons 9 till 12:30. He'll do, sports and exercise science. We do health with Alder Hay. We can do a business course, A-level maths, A-level English. They do GCSE resit English, GCSE resit maths. We do a sports coaching, a qualification as well. They're all level 3s. So they'll come in 9 till 12:30 and do their whatever lesson it is they do. And then they'll train in the afternoon. In the afternoon, their training program can look like anything from the gym program to a full training session. And the components of the course, they'll cover nutrition. Peter Sturgis came in and he was like, wow, this is unbelievable. You've seen it down at Melwood, the facilities, unbelievable. We offer HND and a HNC degree course in the evenings. And I've seen one of the students who does the HND now. We were chatting the other day. I was just at a game and he was there and he said, we didn't appreciate what we had when we were there. He said, we appreciate it now. He said, but when we were there in the day, like they didn't appreciate how good the teachers were. So some of the teachers are teaching them on the HND course and they're saying they're brilliant. We didn't appreciate it then because when they were in the lessons, all they could think about was training in 2 hours. So there's that element of it. And then they go and train on the Melwood pitch. And that'll be for some of them, that'll be the best pitch they ever play on, ever. It's better than some of the higher non-league pitches, but you don't get that when it's right in front of you. But yeah, the program that they do, guys, is fantastic. They get on a Wednesday, it's game day. Every game gets VO'd. Every game gets analysed on analysis software. All the players are encouraged to make their own clips. All the coaches will make their clips for them as well. It's it's a different world. You know, as I say, Peter Sturgis was just like, this is absolutely amazing. And as you've seen yourself, you've only seen, part of what was going on. I'd love you to come when you have more time to see it for a day and just sit around and just watch how it works. Culture's brilliant. The relationship with the players and the students is has a fantastic level of respect. You know, we hardly have any of the discipline issues that you have in a high school anymore. Even the ones who people would say were at the lower end academically have gone on to do degrees just because the environment has made them change and rethink. So yeah, that's how we balance it. It is it's very unique. My sister's the head of science in a high school local to us, and she can't get her head around it. She can't get how the kids have education and football all in one day.
Do you think it's because it's non-traditional a little
100%.
bit? Because and that unlocks people's brains in a different way. Like you asked me now, I teach in high school over here, but kids are kids and it doesn't matter where you live. They've all got strengths and weaknesses. But the fact that it is so non-traditional surely helps these kids out. I know I would have probably thrived in a place like that. And I'm sure you would have done as well, given the fact that, like you said at the beginning, and I agreed with you, it took you to say, let's just say to the age of 22, 21, to realize what you actually had to do to get your degree done and get your head around it. Like, you're just attacking things from a different angle. I suppose you've already kind of covered it, right? But what sort of things are you doing on a day-to-day on top of the non-traditional methods that you are doing, like the training and the footy and the work? Is it literally like bringing people in to sort of expose the kids to different things?
Yeah, so when BTECs were brought out, they were brought out to be vocational. Okay, so that means get them out, get them experiencing things. Now, what happens is it becomes a lot easier to sit them behind desks and teach them in a classroom. It does, because everyone's in front of you. You're not chasing people around. But it's not what BTEC should be about. It should be vocational. Vocational can be anywhere from bring people in and tell them about the experiences. That's why, to show them pathways. It can be, we take our business class out now to the guy Donato who showed us around the Italian place in town. He has another restaurant. And again, I sat down with him and just said, look, I'm doing a business course and my remit is to make it come alive. I said, so I want to come in here so they can see your business operating and have a guest speaker in at the same time. And he was like, yeah, his background was training people in hospitality. So we got it quickly. So we've had some tremendous guests, speakers, who've given up their time to come again and speak to these students face to face. Lads who've had sports marketing agencies and gone on to sell the companies for 10 million quid, and the same age as us, same age as me and you, showing how you come from similar backgrounds to me and you, not knowing what they wanted to do, and all of a sudden, making these amazing businesses and selling them. And the same guy telling people, working with Cole Palmer now on his branding, and it's just, the kids' eyes light up. Got another guy, a great guy called Peter, who owns Hotel Anfield. So he's talking about, how the hospitality industry functions on a match day. So you think, when you talk about business, sports and business in sport or being involved in sport, you think it has to be on the pitch or on the grass. It doesn't. It's a whole business. And just these things make the courses come alive. We have a guy who comes out and does our fitness program for them, and he gives them an app. It's as close to a professional level as you're going to get, other than the kids don't get paid. That's how close it is now, how well we've done it. They've got everything at the fingertips, and they won't realise it until they've gone, really. So, You can see after game day on a Wednesday, the games get posted about 10:30 on a Thursday, bang, straight to the phone. So they can see their performance from the day before. I mean, how good is that? We never had any videos of our games when we were younger. They've got it every single week.
But it's that tweaking mindset, isn't it? And it's the thing you talk about before, Kano, I'm going to use this word, but Kano, but like it's moments, isn't it? Like this is a moment now that's wiring them up to think like this. Like you're not thinking it's not a grade on a piece of paper. It's something that you do this, it's going to get you here. Like if you have a chance of this, it's going to get you here. And it might not be in football. Because that's another thing as well. That's another piece, isn't it? Like a lot of these lads, they'll think Robbie Fowler Academy. They'll think, I'm going to go and play footy and I'm going to make it somewhere or another. But you're giving them, like just by giving them a little bit of a pointer in whichever way they go, it might not be footy that they end up in, but they're going to have the skill set and like the sort of the thing that someone gave them, believed in them to put them in a position for this. And it's going to drive them. Like you said, like again, that lad before, you would have given 90% of people would have given him no chance, wouldn't they, Cliffy?
Listen, you're not going to win them all. You're not going to win everyone, but we have to set the standards, set the culture, and I think we do that really well in the academy. Yeah.
What do you say? What do you say to like these young people? Like, how do you combat this? Kid comes in, wants to play footy, and that's the reason he's there, and he's a good player, and this, that, and the other. What advice do you give to them, like straight off the bat, like to tell them, listen, it might not be footy, might not be the thing. Like if they get injured tomorrow, and footy's over for them, like have you had moments like that, or do you try and stem that before it even happens?
No, yeah, we get it, and what you're trying to say to them is, look, you can come in here and be literally, guys. It doesn't matter what level of ability they are. They can come in here and better themselves 100% if they've got everything provided for them. They've got to have that, internal drive to do it, haven't they? The ones who have, Matty, who I introduced you to. So Matty's come through, still playing for FC United, doing really well, but is professional in everything that he does. So he's took what he's found in the academy and gone, I'm going to go with that. And it's got him to where he needs to be. There's been other lads who've come in who've not been the best when they've come in and left and gone and, become a professional. It's not going to happen for everyone. Yes, people are going to get injured, but there's other pathways. And that's what they've got to open their eyes to. And that's what we try and explain to them all the time. There's a kid there now, he's looking at doing maybe possibly a golf scholarship out in the US. Now, we can still help him with that. Why? Because I could contact you. There's other people who have contacts in the US. They also have I keep saying to them all the time, you've got to use this network that's in this room. So it's like you said, didn't you? It's getting in the room, and then making sure you stay in the room. I think that's what it gives them as well. And it's trying to open their eyes to that. And so I say to them all, use me for my connections. I know a couple of lads have spoken to you, and it's important for them because it's not just coming from me then. It's coming from other people as well as me. And then they go, all right, okay, there could be something here for me. So yeah, that's how, if people do come in and injuries do happen, we do show them as many pathways as possible.
That's the thing, isn't it? We say this all the time, and I've spoke to lads on your programs either through Zoom or like the one lad came over in person, didn't he, and made the effort, and he had the curiosity to come and he had the curiosity, but also had the gumption to make the effort, make the connection. And he basically walked over to me in a little stadium with about 2,000 people in it. And was like, "Are you Gary?" I'm like, "Yeah." Not hard to miss with my USA trackie on. But how important do you think it is to surround yourself with the right people when you're trying to move in the right direction? Like even on a really like lower scale levels, like the lads who were smashing windows in the church, like you just take them in and try and help them out and try and make them understand that you put yourself in the right positions with the right people. You never know where you've got to give yourself a chance. You're giving yourself a chance by doing that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you look at your network now, it's huge, isn't it? You just come across people, in every single journey and try and keep in touch and try and help people out. And it's trying to make them see that, we're all here to try and, well, the majority of us are here to try and help each other to do the best that we can. especially us as teachers and you're in education as well. I think that's basically our duty to say, look, is it really the end of the world if they're going to fail all their exams? Not really. Do you think there'll be enough people within our network to say, listen, he's a good lad, this kid, give him a job, whatever that job is, whatever it is, whether it's starting. I remember at university I worked at Pizza Hut, right? Why? I need to pay the visa because I need to pay my overdraft, and I was getting good money. I was doing good tips. It helped me buy me wedding rings, for goodness sake. But what I mean is, it's like from there, a lot of the lads were into footy, and again, loads of skills it gave me. One of the things it did give me was that's quite an easy way to make money. That. So I say to if I'm kids looking for a job now, I was going to say, go and work at McDonald's, go and work at a restaurant, go and work somewhere and build up. So at least you can go to the next person and go, I've had a job here. My mate buys and sells football clubs. His first ever job was in Mackey's on Wigan Road. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you've just got to want to go out there and do it. And I think like if they do fail their exams, I'm sure within our network, someone will go, you know what, I'll give them, a labourer, whatever it might be. There's opportunities then to keep going and work yourself up. There's never. I just think it's important that they see that and see that we're people first and foremost. We're not, like you just said, not just a grade on a piece of paper. And I think that's where mainstream education, mate, I don't want to get started on it. It's got to change. Broken, absolutely broken. We've anyway. But that's a podcast. That
Yeah, it is another podcast, and it ain't this one. I'll tell you that much.
yeah.
I'm 30 years from some of the lads that I'm talking to in school. I've said, listen, you have no idea how long amount of time that is. So you could be a labourer for 2 years, but in 10 years, you could be a CEO of a company, for example. But it's so difficult to get that message across to someone, isn't it?
Yeah. And especially between 16 and 19, absolutely. And like I said to you before, the lads who were saying we didn't know how good we had it are now 20. So it is funny. 16 to 19 is a funny age where you can see so really these should do a 2-year course. We do a 1-year PT. And mainly the lads who are about 19 are on the PT course. They're still at that stage where they're not really sure what they want to do. They don't want to go to uni, don't I? So they just do the PT course to fill in that, what we would call that year out. So we would A-level 16 to 18, year out to university. They fill that with the PT course, which I say is fine. Absolutely fine. But then you can see when they turn to 20, something sort of switches as if to say, oh, okay, I need to make a decision what direction I'm going to try and go in at least. But we know, I know people who've done sports science degrees, and are now bank managers. Do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily just down to what degree you do, or it's just the fact that you've gone out there and bothered to get a degree. To a point, we were having a talk here in our house now about these degree apprenticeships. Sound brilliant. Working whilst you're getting your degree. Once you're on the working ladder and you've got experience behind you, you're doing a good job. All of a sudden, you're networking, aren't you? And people are going, yeah, I'd have her, or yeah, I'd have him. So yeah, that's.
What advice would you have give yourself then? Early 2000s, like one piece of advice before heading to the US. What would it have been? Looking back now,
I would probably. I'll tell you a quick story. So I remember when the Silicon bands were popular. The Live Strong and all that. We did some over here, and we ended up doing some for Liverpool Juventus game 2005. Did they play them in the semi-finals? Did they quarterfinals?
Quarterfinals?
Yeah, and then some for the final. Golden red they were. And at the time, we had an agent working on them in China, so I was messaging him saying, right, here's where's the design? We want it molded and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. He sent them all over. I remember counting for Liverpool 40,000 bands. I didn't know that to quality check something, you just had to count one box. And if that one box was right, you say, right, okay, the whole shipment's okay. Well, maximum probably 3 boxes. I thought, I better make sure there's 40,000 going in here to Liverpool. So counting 40,000 bands took me all day. Anyway, that guy, so after the craze finished, I just left it. Didn't think anything more of it. The guy came, my dad got married maybe just over 12 years ago, maybe now. Probably more, probably wrong there. And I remember he came to the wedding, Stephen, his name was. And I said, "Oh, what are you doing now?" He said, "Oh, I've retired." I said, "All right, I'll come." He said, "Well, I sold loads of bands. You made £1 million, retired." It was my idea. I never thought like, "Oh, I'll get a contract or, blah, blah, blah." I was just like, "Oh, the craze is done." Oh, but obviously the market in America is like massive. So if he's doing 3,000 here, 3,000 there, 3,000, he was earning a fortune, and he was obviously going direct into the US. So looking back, I probably think this is like a huge, huge, huge country. What are the options? I remember coming home to England actually and asking Brendan if I could open UK Elite in the UK when I got back. And that's one thing I wish I'd have done. Because when you look at it now, guys, all the one-to-one stuff, do you remember?
Yeah.
All the one-to-one stuff now, people were paying for that when we were there. And I was thinking, people aren't going to pay 20 quid to have a one-to-one. That was
Didn't it?
20.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't exist. It didn't exist in England 20 years ago, did it?
Your one-on-one was you went to knock for your mate, got your ball and went. There's your 1v1, go and sort it. So, yeah, but I would probably look back and think what opportunities, look at a wider picture, what other opportunities were there.
I definitely wasn't mature enough to think that way when I first came over here. It
No
took
way.
me a lot longer, I think, than a lot of people to figure it out. Like, there's not just, I think I just had the graft mentality in my head. Like, I'll just work as hard as I can and I'll be all right. But
Yeah.
not always the case. That's why
Yeah.
some of our mates, the lads we know now, are all absolutely millionaires. And
Well, that's from you. I remember Tom McNeil just went in a completely different direction, didn't he? He went and did something in law, did he, or insurance or
something
something
like
for a
that.
big company. Yeah. So, but as you say, it comes with maturity, doesn't it? I suppose. And I think just if you ask me again, looking back, I'd just tried to understand how big that country, USA, really, really is.
Mm. All right, last question, mate. What are you most proud of to this point? Professionally, personally?
Question, not me.
You don't have to say your wife and the kids. We'll take that as a given.
No, I don't. I don't know. I couldn't answer that in a. If I suppose having the bottle to change direction because it was tough. In the 2 years that we were doing it, was tough. Tough at home, tough for me mentally. I struggled with the change from being my own boss to working for someone else. Even though I used to work harder in the garage, is in respect of, I get holidays with the education. I could have took time off in the garage, but I didn't. And that, again, I think that comes with a level of maturity, and you have that anxiety and the worry. Whereas here, I can't really do anything in the half terms because no one's in anyway. Do you understand what I mean? It's a bit of planning, a bit of marketing, and everything that you do, but nothing really. Whereas in the garage, you could all be open 365 days a year, and the business would come in. So it's having that discipline to say, no, I'm off at this point. So yeah, I think doing that shift, and I'm just starting to get that balance right now, I think. So yeah, probably the bottle to switch, because when I say to people, we're not young, mate, are we? At 41, people are like, right, where's me next? Where's the next tier? Where's the next paycheck? And then the tier after that is probably, right, I'm out of here.
Mm.
So changing at 40 to start at the bottom probably is the biggest thing that I've done. I didn't think it'd be such a big change, as if I'm honest, and it shocked me really. So,
But you're well on
yeah.
your way now, though, mate, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm comfortable now in the sense that, I'm relatively settled, starting to get used to the routine of what is involved in teaching, and yeah. So yeah, looking forward to what's next, really. Yeah.
What is next? I'm just being nosy now.
I'd like to see us grow multi-site, but it just all depends on the government's way they fund education and what happens with that, really. We'll probably grow the junior academy now. The whole reason the junior academy is set up is to bring, to open people's minds that we offer a 16 to 19 education program. It's not about, yeah, of course we'll have good players come through, but it's not about making them pros. Do you see what I mean? It's about saying, like, after year 11, there's a program here for you. Have a look at it, and showing the parents what we're about and who we are, and that's give us some real good opportunities. So yeah, I'm looking forward to what what that brings as well. And so, yeah, that's it really, mate.
Well,
That's what I'm
best
proud
of
of.
luck to you, mate. You know I'll be all over it. Anything to do with Robbie Fowler, and I'll be there. And now you're there as well. It's just double fold. Cliffy, top man. Thanks very much, mate. I appreciate it. I know it's late for you. I've got a couple of questions for you before you go, though. Just the quick ones. All right, only a few. Best place you visited in the US?
You know what? I loved Boston when we went. So did you do the Reebok Centre?
No.
No. So we did the Reebok Centre, and we went all out with that. Put us up in a Sheraton, and it was, you know, that was lovely. I love Boston. I'd like to go back there again, but I must admit, I've been to Miami a couple of times, and Miami's like a calmer version of New York and better weather.
What about one thing from your time in America, one thing that you just can't get in England and you wish you could get?
At the time, I was all over Dunkin' Donuts. I was all over it. And it is definitely it's not the same in America anymore. When I go back, I can't, I don't think it's the same there, and it's definitely no good over here. And it's a shame that, because I absolutely loved it. I thought we'd be able to smash. I even looked at doing a Dunkin' Donuts over here, thinking, but no one's going to take Dunkin' Donuts over here. Who's going to go to a place? Well, I say that, you know.
There's one in Wigan, you know, I'm sure there is.
There's one in Liverpool and in the St. John's, but it never really took off. However, Lark Lane's around the corner from me, and there's a thing called Dougal's Donuts on it, and it smashes it every day, sells out every day. So I don't know, maybe they're changing, but yeah, Dunkin' Donuts I would have been all over that.
It's the one, isn't it? This was from Ralph C. Favorite WWF wrestler?
Ultimate Warrior, all day.
Didn't even break a sweat then.
All day. He gets absolutely, well, Ralph C will know, he gets bad press now, but at the time he was like different.
And I think, no, it's not, because I remember those conversations that you two used to have, and I just used to stand on the edge going, what are these two weapons talking about? Last one, I think you might have already answered it. Wendy's or Dunkin' Donuts?
I'd have to go for Wendy's now. Yeah. However, we did go to Wendy's when we went over to America, and the dollar menu's disappointing now. And I used to get a jacket potato. Used to be able to get a jacket potato, salad, like fries with it, and loads of mad stuff for like $5, didn't you? And come out, fill your boots. Now you're like, well, can't get anything.
You've just turned into the person that I said we are now. We're just remember back in our day. That's what it is now. It's not like that anymore. Dollar menu's rubbish now.
I know. Sad days, me.
No, Cliffy, nice one, mate. Thanks very much.
Place to go in Miami is that Joe's Pizza. I think there's one in New York, isn't there, actually?
I think, yeah, there's a few in New York, yeah.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Cliffy, nice one, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And good luck with everything, mate. It's brilliant, this. I think it's a real proper setup, so yeah, you've done well.
No, I appreciate it. I'll definitely be in touch when I get back in the summer.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you or someone you know has a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us via our socials or visit www.crossingthepondpodcast.com to get in touch. Please be sure to subscribe, like, or leave a comment if you can. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Across Pond Podcasting.